Hey friends, this is Karen from Blue Rooster Farm, and today we're in the dining room and we are assembling some Christmas gifts. These are some homemade gifts that I've been making, and today I'm going to share with you how I made them. These are coffee shop in a bag kits, and if you want to see what's in them and see how we make them, stick around. Thanks for sticking around. Well, Christmas is just around the corner, and for the last couple of weeks, I have been working on this gift, and I'm going to be using it for gifts for friends, gifts, stocking stuffers for family, and I'm just getting to the point where I'm getting them done. But it took just a little bit of time for me to film everything, and now I'm ready to put it all together. So you're going to be seeing a conglomeration of different videos that I have done in the past week or so. And I was making some of these mixes. So it spanned a couple of days because I had to get some more ingredients. But I have one more mix to make, and we're going to mix that right here in just a second. You probably already remember seeing these little bags. If you watch the Sew Sampler reveal, I showed you how to make these bags. And so there is a video tutorial on how to make this bag. And so I've also been doing more. And this one I decided, and I made this one, and I made the label on Canva and just transferred it to fabric with my printer. And it says coffee shop in a bag, homemade hot beverages, just mix with water, hot water or milk. And it has Blue Rooster Farm on it. But they are going to have all the different mixes that I have been preparing in them with a couple other fun things. Before we open these up and before I show you how to assemble these, I'm going to make one more mix. Now I've got 5 mixes that I've already made, and so I'm going to have 5 recipes to share with you for different hot cocoa, cappuccinos, mochas, different things like that that are instant and easy to make. I'll show you how I'm packaging them so they're really super cute, and share with you any tips that I found helpful. So the last thing that I'm going to make is a very vintage recipe. So if you're my age or even older, you might remember how popular the Russian tea mix was with the tang and the tea. It was probably the 80s that it was real popular. And that was very, very good. We really enjoyed it back then. And especially if you had a cough or something, that was always fun to have a big cup of that to drink, or a sore throat because it just tasted good. It was full of vitamin C. Um, and that was fun to drink. But as we get older, we can't drink that much sugar. And I know with me, I do not like to consume my sugar calories in beverages. I would rather save that for a nice dessert. So I'm going to be making a sugar-free version of Russian tea mix. And it's really very, very simple. and you only need a small amount of it per cup of hot water. It's pretty amazing. So what you're going to need is now, I don't know if you realize this, but you can't buy instant tea on the shelves, just plain instant tea anymore like we used to buy, Lipton's jar of instant tea. I cannot find that anywhere. Now, on Amazon, there's a few things that you can buy, but they're kind of expensive. But I guess because the prepackaged, pre-sweetened varieties that are in the little packs or the already made in the bottles, those must have been more popular now, and people don't want to even mess with mixing the instant tea. Maybe most people just want to do the hot tea bags. Whatever it is, I searched far and wide for that instant tea and could not come up with it. But I decided just to use some Crystal Light sweet tea. And that's going to be fine because we won't be adding additional sugar. The old recipe had it had tang, it had the instant tea, it had the lemonade drink mix, which was already sweetened, and then it had sugar on top of that, plus some cloves and cinnamon for spice. So there was a lot of sugar in that. I know you didn't use a whole lot when you made it, but it was still a lot of sugar that wasn't necessary. So this is the Crystal Light sweet tea mix. I'm substituting that for the instant tea. The different orange drinks, and this is the Walmart brand. I've already made a batch that we've been using, and so some of this stuff is open. The Orange Blast mix from Walmart works perfect in this. Also, I think Sunkissed works well. I'm going to use what I have left over of this, and then some of this, and I'll tell you the amounts in just a second. And then I'm going to use some Crystal Light lemonade mix. And so these are the things we're substituting, and then of course cloves and cinnamon. So let's just get started. And again, this is just a real quick tutorial. So let me see if I've got everything here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our tea mixes, and this is one bag or one box, and it is, the whole weight of it is 1.56 ounces. There are, let's see how many packs. There are 6 packs in here, and we're going to use all 6. Let me get my hair fixed there. Okay, so, and there's this pack right here makes, let's see, I guess it makes 2 quarts. So this whole thing right here makes 2 quarts. So that, whenever you start mixing this up, it's not going to take much to put in your cup. And you'll just take a glass of hot water, stick it in the microwave, or pour your hot water into your mug, and then just take a small amount. And I think it only takes about 1 to 1.5 teaspoons of this mix per cup of water. I'm going to get all that out of there. Oops, wrong container. Wrong container. Try to keep my mess contained here, because if you could see what I have here, I've got a ton of stuff. Let's see if we can open that. There we go. And how are you guys doing on getting your Christmas gifts and your Christmas decorations up? Are you like me this year, kind of behind? I'm hoping to bring you into the kitchen in another video today and make some more cookies. Got lots of that baking still to do. And I think I will do a little video showing our Christmas decorations too. I've had people ask if we would do that. All right, so here are all of the tea bags emptied into this. All right, so then we're going to take, and that was 1.58 ounces. Now we're going to take 2 ounces of our orange drink mix. This is 0.56 ounces per bag, and I have 2 of them, so I'm just going to estimate this to be about 1 ounce, just a little over 1 ounce, and I need another ounce of it. If I was thinking, I would have had these all cut open already and I could just pour them in. But that's okay. Anybody start wrapping their presents yet? Not me. We usually wrap, if we've got the gifts, closer to Christmas. Sometimes the weekend before. That way I feel a little more complete. Okay, so we had about 1 ounce in that left over. So these are 0.74 ounces. Oh, the whole box is 0.74 ounces. So we're just going to add this whole box. And that should be plenty. Yeah. And if you just had a whole container of this, you would have plenty. You would actually get to have an extra left over. But since we'd already used ours. Now, I will be having this recipe below in the description box. And I'll also link all of the other drink mixes down there. Normally, I do it on recipe cards, but there's just so many, and there's not really any directions on how to make them. It's just basically what ingredients you have. So you just put all the ingredients in a bowl and mix them up. It's smelling good. And when you make this, if you're going to gift it, there's a whole bunch of different things you can use to put it in. And I'm going to share with you some of our ideas. If it's just a bulk mix for you to have, you can just put this in a little jar or even a Ziploc bag if you don't have a little jar. All right, so we've got the orange all in here. We've got the tea in here. Now let's do the lemon. And it said 1 ounce of sugar-free lemonade mix. And these are 0.14 ounces. There's 1.4 ounces altogether. So I'm going to leave out 3 of them. So I think if I do 7, that should be good. And you know, if your tastes are different and you like it different, you can leave out or add what you want. Yeah, I'm just leaving out 3 of them. You know, as our boys get older, we find that money, gift certificates, things like that are usually more appreciated. If there's something specific that they want, you know, they just let us know and we'll decide if we're going to get it for them or not. I'm hoping the weather cooperates during the holidays so that we can travel. We like to travel to different family events. It's usually not on the Christmas day or the, you know, on the holidays because we're all working around families and work schedules. But we do find a time for our families to all get together. All right, there's the last one. Okay, so now we're just going to mix that together. And we're going to be adding 4 teaspoons of cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of ground cloves. Now, if it's 4 teaspoons of cinnamon, that would be a tablespoon and a teaspoon. So I'm just going to do that. Now, if you like more cinnamon, you add more cinnamon. If you like more cloves, you add more cloves. That all smells good now. And just whisk that together and you are done. So like I said, get you a hot glass of, or a hot mug of water, and add 1.5 teaspoons or somewhere in there, whatever your taste is, more or less depending on what you like, and you are set. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting these in little bags like this. And let's see. I can get these at our Mennonite store with all the Ziploc and plastic bags. They sell these. This one is about 4.5 inches by 3 inches. Now there's a smaller one, and they just come in a bundle like this. And you can find these on Amazon too. And this one says 2 inches by 3 inches on it. Now, if you wanted to do single servings, you could put it in the small one. That would be fine. But with this coffee shop in a bag, I am going to be putting a larger quantity in here, and people can just use what they need and then close it up. And that way they can have it for a long time. So I will fill this here in a little bit, and then I'll show you how I package everything else. While I'm clearing this off, I'm going to show you the video on how you make all of these mixes. You're going to see here are the ones that I've made. A hot cocoa mix, and it's a really good one. A Christmas cappuccino mix, coffee toffee, cocoa toffee coffee mix, candy cane cocoa mix, cocoa hazelnut cappuccino mix, and then of course this sugar-free Russian tea mix. All of those recipes are at the bottom in the description box, but here's a video on how I made them. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make just basic old hot cocoa. And I've got all my ingredients here, so we're going to measure it out. And this recipe makes 18 servings, so it's quite large. Let me see what size of a container. You'll need a larger container, 4.5 cups. So it's a little over a quart size. So let's get started. Okay, I'm going to mix this all up in my food processor because that way it'll get all incorporated really easily. I'm just going to use my regular metal sharp blade on it. Oops, this needs to come out. Push that in. Okay, so we're going to start with 2 cups of confectioner's sugar, which is just powdered sugar. Now, if you want to use regular sugar and then when you're mixing it up in here, it will powder slightly. I would like to figure out a way to make a sugar-free version, so I think I'll be working on that and see if I can come up with something that tastes good for that. But in the meantime, we're just going to use our powdered sugar or confectioner's sugar, and we need 2 cups. So there's 1 cup. And there is 2 cups. Okay. Then we're going to need a cup of Dutch processed cocoa. And you really could use any kind of cocoa. If you have Hershey's cocoa, it's going to be a little bit of a different taste, but I think both kinds are fine. So I said 1 cup. There's 1 cup. We need 2 1/2 cups of powdered milk, and I have just some non-fat dry milk. Now you could also use some that has more fat, and that would be a richer cocoa. What we like to do is we like to mix this with milk and make it really nice and rich. It does taste better with milk, but you can definitely use water with this. You don't have to have milk, but the milk does give it a richer taste. So 2 1/2 cups. There's 1 cup. There's 2 cups. And a half. 2 1/2 cups. 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, and this just helps it thicken up just a little bit, but also kind of keeps it all incorporated nicely. 1, 2, and a teaspoon of kosher salt. And if you don't have kosher salt, you can use whichever kind of salt you do have. That would be fine. Okay. Now we're going to put this in and blend it up good. And that looks like it's all nicely incorporated. Let me check and see. Yeah, that looks great. Now, this is perfectly fine just like this. It is ready to go. And what you would do is you would add 1/4 cup of powder per 1 cup of hot water or hot milk. And that would make wonderful hot cocoa. But I'm going to make it just a little bit nicer and give it a little more flavor, because I like to do that. But this is all optional here. Recently on Amazon, when I was buying my vanilla beans, I ran across vanilla powder, and I thought, well, that would be a really good thing to have for these dry mixes. So I'm going to use, let's see, I'm going to use a heaping fourth of a teaspoon of vanilla powder. And earlier I put in my food processor some dark chocolate and just ran it through to about this consistency. Now you could powder it all the way down, but I wanted to have a few little chunks in there to make it really super rich and super, super yummy. So I'm going to add, this is a cup here, I'm going to add half of this. So 1/2 cup. And now I'm going to blend again. That looks perfect. Now, this is ready to either put in a large jar for you to use, or you can separate it out into smaller containers, smaller jars, plastic bags. You can get cute little holiday bags right now with the twist ties. You could use something like that. Things like that, but you could do really neat things to make it fun. And I think I'll probably bring you back and we'll do some bagging up of this hot cocoa after we make all of our other mixes too. But this one is ready to go. Now, if you want, you could take a little bit of this and a little bit of hot milk or hot water, mix it together, taste it, and see if it's at your taste. If it's too chocolatey, you can add more powdered sugar and a little more of the dried milk. If it's not chocolatey enough, you can add more cocoa or more chocolate just to get to your taste. There are other things that you could add in place of the vanilla powder. In fact, I was planning on using my vanilla sugar to substitute like a cup of the powdered sugar. But when I found this, I thought, no, I'll just use this and save this for other good things like icings and stuff like that, and powdered on our donuts and our rolled cookies. So you could use vanilla sugar to substitute part of your powdered sugar. Also, if you would like to make it minty, you certainly could use the mint sugar that we had made, and this stuff smells so, so good. It is just wonderful smelling. So what I'll probably do, and I'll bring you back if we do this, is make some specialty flavors and put those in little containers too. So here is our first one. This is our hot cocoa mix. So I'll bring you back when we're ready to do our next one. The next thing we're going to be mixing up is Christmas cappuccino mix. And this is going to be really yummy. And we're going to be using some of our cocoa that we just made. And I had just put it in this plastic basket to keep it until I'm ready to gift it. I will probably be doing a couple of batches of this. That way I can gift a little bit more in each package. So what we're going to need is we're going to need our cocoa, some dry milk, powdered sugar, some instant coffee, and some French vanilla creamer. And so what I have is 1 cup of chocolate cocoa mix. So we've got 1/2 and 1/2. We got 1 cup there. I'm going to add 4 cups of dry milk, and I'm going to use this measurement, and I've got the numbers on the side. I just got to see them. That's 2 right there. Okay, so this is 2 cups. And there's 2 cups, so there's 4 cups of dry milk. Again, it's whatever kind you want. And we need 1 cup of powdered sugar. Now you can use more or less depending on your taste. And I'm also going to add 1/2 cup of instant coffee, whatever flavor or coffee that you like. The last thing we're going to add is our French vanilla non-dairy creamer. And for this, we need 4 ounces, and 4 ounces, it looks like it would be 1/2 cup. So we're just gonna throw that right there. There's vanilla flavor in that milk or that creamer, but I'm still going to add just a little bit of my powdered vanilla. This is optional. And probably 1/4 of a teaspoon. And then we're going to add one more thing, and this is completely optional. I'm using some ground up white chocolate, and I just took some frozen Baker's bars and some Ghirardelli white chocolate, and I just ground them up in my food processor. And for this, I think I'm only going to use about 1/4 of a cup because it's going to be pretty sweet already, but this will make it extra rich. put that in there. And you know what? Let's go ahead and add a 1/4 of a cup of dark chocolate too. Oh, that'll just put it right over the edge. And let's mix this up. And that should do it. Yep, that looks good. So there's what it looks like. And what you're going to do, again, the same thing as the hot cocoa, you decide how you want to package it. This needs a 1/4 to 1/3 cup of the mix for every 6 to 8 ounces of hot water. And again, if you wanted to use milk, I'm sure that that would be great too, extra, extra rich. So there we have our Christmas cappuccino mix. And I'll get that in a Ziploc bag, and then I'll bring you back for some more. All right, for our next drink mix, I have some Werther's Originals, and they are the hard candies, and this is just a real small bag, 2.65 ounce. And I think I picked it up at Dollar General or something like that. And it's less than, a cup of candies. And I'm going to put it in the food processor, and we are going to chop those up. Let's see what they look like. Oh, that looks good. So I just chop those up pretty fine, and there's a few bigger chunks and a few smaller chunks, and that's perfect. So we're just going to put that back in this cup. Whoops. All right, we'll set this aside, and we'll set this aside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this on the bigger size. Okay, I think that's on. There we go. And we are going to take 1 cup of coffee, and that's just instant coffee. We are going to take 1 cup of our hot cocoa mix. We are going to take a couple of tablespoons of vanilla pudding, and you can just take it from a box, and you could use sugar-free too, whatever you have. And this will just give it a nice, rich flavor and kind of thicken it just a little bit, but not, it's not going to be like pudding or anything like that, but just kind of make it seem more creamy. So 2 tablespoons. Let's add a 1/2 cup of brown sugar and a 1/4 of a cup of just cocoa powder. Let's also add a 1/4 of a cup, and I'm using the French vanilla. You could add the plain creamer as well, but I'm just going to add the French vanilla. 1/4 cup of our toffee, of our Werther's chocolate. Now let's put that in the food processor and blend it nicely. And that should do it. And there you have our toffee mocha coffee. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make some candy cane hot cocoa. And I'm just using some Brock's peppermint candy canes. And I have them here in my blender, and we're just going to grind them up. And you want to leave them so you can see them. So I think that's about the consistency that I'll keep. All right, let's see how many we have here. So it looks like that box made just about a cup. Not quite, just about. All right. So we're going to set this aside, and we're going to grab our blender, and so let's put our blade on, and let's add our cocoa. And let's see here. I'm going to add, that look like about 2 cups. So let's add 2 cups of cocoa. And you can make, you know, more, but just double the ingredients if you want. And this is 1/4 of a cup, so let's do 1/2 a cup of candy cane. And we're just going to give it a rough mix. And actually, I want to add just a little bit of cocoa to this because the candy cane is going to make it sweeter, so we can make it a little richer. So let's add 1/4 of a cup of cocoa and 1/4 of a cup of our dry milk. That will balance out that sweetness. And I don't want to grind up the peppermint in there. I just want to mix all the ingredients together. So that should do it. And there we have our candy cane cocoa. Looks good. Right, now let's make a cappuccino hazelnut chocolate mix. So let's take 1 cup of powdered sugar, 1 cup of our hot cocoa mix, 2/3 cup of instant coffee, 1/4 cup of our Werther's Toffee, and 1 cup of our hazelnut creamer. Let's add 1 cup of dry milk. Get this all whirled up. And let's give this just a little bit of extra yum by adding 1/2 cup of dark chocolate that we have ground up or chopped up in our food processor. Let's see what that looks like. And there is our cappuccino hazelnut chocolate mix. All right. Well, while you were watching that video, I was in there making up a cup of the Russian tea, and it is really good. You don't need very much of it. It is very, very strong and very potent. So, depending on the size of your mug, a teaspoon goes a long ways. So just add some, taste it, and then add more to your taste. But it's really good. And it feels really good if you have a cold or a sore throat too. And so I went ahead and I put all of them in little packages. And this one made, I think, seven packages. And so here is how I packaged my coffee mixes. So this one right here is the hazelnut cappuccino. And what I did was I made a little sticker, and then I made a little cardboard piece and I attached it at the top. And that way they know what's in the baggie. And it says, just add milk or water. And so they can make that really easily. And so I did all different kinds. This one is cocoa toffee coffee. And so I have 5 different ones prepared, those 5 that you just saw in the video. And put that in the right place. So what I'll do is on these right here, these Russian teas, I will take a little bit of, let me find. Now, you can buy cardstock with Christmas pictures on it, at Hobby Lobby or wherever. You can also go to Etsy, and if you've got a decent printer, and mine has the ink tank that you can fill up, and so my ink is really cheap. If your ink is more expensive, it's probably just cheaper to buy the cardstock with the Christmas images on it. But you can go to Etsy and you can purchase these different images of different Christmas papers or any kind of design paper that you want, and you can make it a whole sheet. You can enlarge it, make it smaller. And so what I did was I purchased one of those, and again, maybe $2 for 100, 200 different designs, really cheap. I then took my own white cardstock. I then decided how big I wanted, the design, and sized it up, printed it off, and then cut it into these rectangles. And these are 3¼ almost 3½, I guess 3½ by 2. And I just cut them into 3½ by 2 rectangles. And you'll see that I have, especially I'll pull some more out here in a minute, I have all different colors. I have Santas with candy canes. Oh no, ho, ho, ho. I have just polka dots, candy canes. But what you'll do is you'll fold that in half, just like so. And you will take your Ziploc bag. And you can do this with larger Ziploc bags. Like if you got the snack size, you would just make this larger. And I've done that with different cookies and candies, or a large mix. If you wanted to make a large mix of one of these mixes and gift it, and then put it in a little bigger Ziploc bag, and then you can cut a piece of cardstock with the Christmas paper on it and do the same thing. So I just put it just a little bit over where that Ziploc is, but when I staple it, I do not staple into that anywhere below the Ziploc. I don't want to put any holes in the bag itself. And so now I have a little bag with it. Then I went to Canva, and this is all free. It's on this. I don't pay for the subscription. I just use it free. There's plenty of things on there that you can use. And I think I went to the circle stickers and I designed circle stickers. I don't know if you can get that one or not. And then I printed them off. I put a whole bunch on a sheet, printed them off on the full sheet of the Avery paper. It's the shipping labels. It's the 8½ by 11. It's just one sheet. And when you print it off, you just cut them out. And that was probably the hardest thing, is just going around and cutting around the edges, making it look nice. And so I need to design one for my Russian tea. And when I've got one for my Russian tea mix, I'll put the sticker on and it will be set too. So there is how you can do a label and a baggie. It's a lot cheaper than the jars, but it does take some time as far as if you want to make it cute, just doing all of that. I was just working on some marshmallows because I'm going to add marshmallows to these bags. So I was putting the cardboard topper. I'm not going to label the marshmallows. People should know what they are. But you can get marshmallow bits that are dried. I think you can get them in either the hot cocoa section or maybe the ice cream topping section. They're in like a Kraft Parmesan plastic container cylinder can, but it's clear. But I also am able to get them at my local Mennonite store, and this whole bag was just $1.50. So they're very inexpensive there. So I've got those that I'm going to be adding to. So let me show you how we assemble this. Okay, I just needed to grab my goodie tray here, and let me open one of these to show you what I have in it. So here's one that does not have a label. So if you don't want to mess with any of these labels, you don't have to. You just make the tote or the little bag. And inside, what I have done is I have placed, and all of this is up to you what you want to add to it. I have put in here a coffee mug. Whoops, and there goes a piece of candy. And I have put in all the different kinds of coffees and cocos. I've added some of these little puff mints, some Werther's coffee candies. Of course, I'm adding the marshmallows. You can add a candy cane. It's really good to stir hot cocoa with. I've also put in here a Biscoff cookie. and hazelnut creams. That's one of them that I lost over there too. So you can add whatever you want. Another thing I had thought about, a coffee, a little coffee straws, the coffee straws, to add a few of those in here. Um, Spoons, you can make your own chocolate dipped spoons. They have, let me see if I have one here. All right, so you can add whatever you want to your bags. Here are the spoons that I was looking for. These are from Hobby Lobby. They're wooden spoons. They cost $1.99, but of course they're 50% off, so it's a dollar. And it looks like you get 12 of them. And so you could add wooden spoons. You can also take these and dip them in chocolate. You would melt your chocolate melts, dip your spoon, let it cool, dip it again, let it cool, and keep doing that. And then on the final dip, roll it in either sprinkles or candy cane pieces or Andy's mint chocolate pieces, whatever you think would be good. Stick this in a little plastic bag, or you might even take one of these, open it up, and once it is full of chocolate, you could put it on there. You could get a twist tie and put a little twist tie, maybe put a bow. You could trim off the Ziploc part, that would be fine, but you could make that really cute too and have a flavored coffee spoon in your bag as well. I don't have time to do that this year, and I thought about it, but I'm just going to be lucky to get these done. But I will add a spoon to it. So there are the fun things that I have in the bag, and you can arrange them however you want. If it were for a kid, like if this one was going to go to a child, I would just make different flavors of hot cocoa. I would take hot cocoa, and then I would do the crisp or the candy cane cocoa in one, a regular cocoa. I might do a cocoa with some white chocolate in it, just the ground white chocolate in it. Do some maybe cocoa with a little tiny bit of coffee for a mocha flavor, or you could also do a little bit of cocoa with some of the hazelnut or any other flavor creamer, dry creamer. Those would be good, and that would be a really fun gift for a kid. Now, if you're giving these around Christmas, I'm just going to set this aside for right now, or right at Christmas, one thing that's a bummer is when you get a cute cup like this on Christmas, you only have a little bit of time to use it because the holiday is over and everybody's getting ready to put away all their decorations and things. So what I like to do is get different kinds of coffee mugs, things that would be able to be used year round. So you can purchase these anywhere. I just kind of find them when I see some cute ones at the stores. I just like to purchase. So you can do that. That way it won't necessarily have to be used during the holidays. So just some ideas. All right. So let's see here. Let's put one together. So here's the coffee shop in a bag. Let's use this cup right here. We're going to put hot cocoa, hazelnut, the cappuccino, the French vanilla cappuccino, the coffee or cocoa coffee toffee, the candy cane cocoa. We'll set that right in there like this. Now the size that I've made in that tutorial, it fits these mugs very well. It's the right size for a mug. I haven't found a mug, unless it's a really large one, that won't fit. So this is a good size. So I'll add the Biscoff, some Werther's coffee candies, some mints, a candy cane, some marshmallows, some hazelnut, and a spoon. And then as soon as I get my Russian tea labels, I'll add one of those to it as well. And there you have it. A coffee shop in a bag. And I will have to tell you, I'm not a coffee drinker, because if I'm a coffee drinker, it is drinking things like these. They have to have the sugar, the cream, the flavors, all the good stuff, and I don't need that. So I just try to avoid. But you know, I have to sample. And all of these mixes were really, really good. I could easily become an addict. So there you have it. Coffee shop in a bag. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have questions, please let me know. There is a PDF link. Let me see if I've got my paper here. One of my viewers asked if I would share the hot cocoa mix label that we made on the tutorial, or the bag we made on the tutorial. And I said, well, you wouldn't want this one because you can't see it, but it's got a circle with a Blue Rooster Farms emblem back there. And so I told her, don't worry, I'll clean that up and I'll make one so that it could be used by anyone. And so you'll have a PDF download in the description box. If you have any problems with it, let me know. But once you pull it out, you can resize it when you print it. A lot of times the printing will say how many per page. And I usually do on my bags, I can do 4 on a page. I can go 1, 2, 3, 4. You can resize them if you need to, whatever you need to do, but there's your free download to get you started. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and share. Also, I would really appreciate if you subscribe. I have so many subscribers right now, and I'm so appreciative of every one of you. And I thank you for reaching out and commenting and being so kind. So I hope you have a great week, and I hope you get some of your Christmas things done. I'll be right back with you sometime soon because I've got a lot of Christmas cookies still to make, and maybe a sewing project or two. So see you soon. Bye-bye.